Hello, everyone, and welcome to this pick a card reading. I hope you are so well. Oh, hello, Nina. Oh, we're so lucky. Let me just zoom out. Hi, thanks so much for joining, Nina. Wow, what an absolute gift and a blessing. Okay, so today we're going to be looking into your spiritual gifts, your soul gifts, okay? And I want to look at this from the lens of how you are designed, like how is your energy designed? What is your energetic blueprint? And therefore getting messages so that you can work with your innate energy more consciously and just being more aware of it. It's going to be, yeah, like I said, looking at your psychic gifts, your spiritual gifts, or your soul level gifts and how your energy is designed. So I already have some really clear messages that have come through. It's one I did some automatic writing for each group before I've channeled. So yeah, it's sort of one of those readings that spirit has just downloaded into my head before I've even started. So we have 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is Be Peace with Dove Spirit. Group 2 is Trust the Great Mystery with Whale Spirit. And group 3 is Let It Shine with Peacock Spirit. So you can go ahead and choose which group or groups you feel drawn to. I will list the timestamps down below and then I'll see you for your reading. Hello, group 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Dove Spirit with Be Peace. And this is a very highly spiritual energy that you hold. I feel like that you are actually a gift to those that come across your energy. The kind of light that you have is a gift. And I feel like that it might almost be that people can't be around you for very long. Like the way that you're coded and your energy is designed, like it's very high frequency light. You're very close to the angelic realms and the angelic frequencies. I feel that you work with angels. You definitely have an angelic blueprint that you're working with. Oh, Nina's here. Hello. That's right. You're the star, Nini. All right. So luckily I have a lot of notes written down because I did some automatic writing for this reading. Okay. That's what I was feeling drawn to for this reading. So your group, I feel you're very empathic, and that's how you've been designed, is that you're extremely empathetic and compassionate and led from your heart, okay? This makes you also very sensitive to sensory information and energy from the world around you. I feel like you would have had sort of like extra sensory perception since you were very young. I feel that you were also initiated through the dream space in the astral as a child. There may have even been experiences of nightmares or things like that. Something to do with the astral plane. Spirit worked with you a lot when you were a child specifically. And I do feel like you have psychic gifts, okay? I feel that my throat chakra has been going off since I tuned in for your reading, okay? There it is again, confirmation. And that is representing some kind of a blockage that is wanting to be released in your energy field, okay? So I feel like there could be I feel like there could be something that wants to be released, okay? It's some kind of an emotion. I feel like because you are very sensitive, and I feel like that you may have been born into a experience of the world that was not catering to your sensitivities when really you needed that. And you really deserve that. Spirit wants you to know as well. Like Spirit wants you now to design yourself a life that caters towards your own needs and that genuinely actually meets your needs. Okay, so Nina never does this, but she keeps on looking at the camera, okay? I swear she never does this. So I feel like there might be some kind of a message that wants to be coming through from yeah, it feels like Nina is bringing through a message with that. Like she can see there's a spirit with you, or there's some kind of a spirit with you. Like I'm seeing yeah, I'm seeing that you are a medium. Okay, that's what Nina's telling me. You're a medium. You have actually telepathy as well with animals as well with Nina being here. You have a psychic gift of having telepathy with animals and that you are meant to use your animal communication. But you're also a medium with passed over spirits. Okay, Hecate, the goddess Hecate, you might work in some realm because Hecate is the goddess that protects those who speak to passed over, deceased spirits. So there's something here about, yeah, you work, one of your gifts is really about mediumship and you have a spirit with you. It could be Hecate, it could be the goddess Hecate who's trying to help you with this gift, or it could be a passed over loved one who acts like as an ancestor spirit guide for you, but it's specifically to do with your mediumship gifts, okay? That's what Nina wanted you to know. It's specifically to do with your mediumship gifts, all right? And your telepathy with animals. Those two are the gifts that I'm seeing spirits wanting you to recognize and work with at this time. You may even feel that you are actually meant to pursue this like really as your calling. Like for some of you, this obviously won't be for every single person watching, but for some of you really specifically, I'm seeing you might be meant to work. And there's my throat chakra again. Yeah, you might be meant to work in the field as a medium and helping to communicate and be the bridge between those two worlds, and to help with the emotional processing that a spirit often needs to go through, like more so for the spirits I'm seeing than the humans who are, the loved ones who are left on this side obviously need emotional processing, but I'm seeing more spirit wants you to work with the actual spirits, okay? To help them to pass over, to help them to find peace, to help them to find like some kind of closure, because I'm seeing, look, I'm not claiming to understand how this process works, you guys, but I'm just trying to like articulate what I'm feeling. It's some kind of like residue that's left over after someone passes. And when they have this residue, like it's an emotional residue that exists in the earth plane, and it helps them to kind of like materialize their energy here. And the spirits that personally, because I am a medium as well, but the spirits that I personally feel strongest are always the ones that have unfinished business, that have maybe a part of their mission is continuing now in someone else, like through a family member or through another person, or they have some kind of unfinished business, or they're concerned about a family member, this kind of thing. So actually, a lot of times spirits themselves can need counseling and help from the perspective of someone that's incarnate here, okay? Obviously, there are guides and teachers and helpers and angels and such, like in non-physical as well, that help. But there's something very comforting. I'm just channeling this right now. There's something very comforting for a passed over spirit to be able to speak to someone who is incarnate here. It helps ground them. It helps ground their life, and it helps bring them closure. That's right, isn't it, Nini? Yeah. It helps bring them a lot of closure. And it's a perspective that they can't reach from the other side. And it's perspective of, it helps them to let go of this side. It helps them to let go of their attachments to this life, okay? And they also, passed over spirits, they also have a very beautiful perspective as well. Like as a medium, I've been touched so much by my experiences because they have a beautiful perspective of both earth and spirit realm, and from the perspective of just being incarnate as a human. So they have so much compassion for the human experience and what you're going through as well. And I've found, a lot of spirits can give you quite a lot of great advice. Oh, Nina's gone because that is the end of the message that she wanted to contribute. Thank you so much. Okay, so definitely look into animal communication as well. There's beautiful aspects to animal communication and telepathy that you might be called into doing. Okay, so the throat chakra block that I'm feeling that Spirit wants to talk about is that you actually are meant to embody this as your lifestyle. You're meant to do this fully as your job. Some of you are already doing this. Some of you may be feeling more like, I'm feeling like a timid energy from this group. Like some of you might not be fully trusting in your abilities. Like there might be a shyness. It's almost like Spirit saying you're shy to like how talented you are. Like Spirit's almost saying you need a little bit more of that energy of being like, look at how fabulous I am. Look at how talented I am. Look at how incredible I am. I'm amazing. I'm the best. Like there's something here about that part of self like wasn't cultivated very strongly in you as a child, and there's more like it's almost needed to push through some kind of block you might have around pushing yourself out into the world. Okay, it's kind of giving me the energy of like me as a child because I was like so shy, you guys, and it's because I had such an extreme experience of sensory information. I think partly, like not only that, there's many different things that I'm not going to go into, but I also partly is because I was a little sensory, bundle that I was picking up so much information, and it was overwhelming for my nervous system. So I feel like that's kind of the energy I'm getting, is that, oh, actually inner child healing, that's something that I wrote down in my automatic writing. You have a very strong connection to children. You have a very strong connection to animals, to children. Wow, it's very special. You could actually be meant to work with children as well. I could see you doing work with children to help them with, sorry, I'm getting more messages coming through. Wow, to help them with their spirituality, because children have spirituality as well, of course. And I think that you would actually be such a beautiful guide to help them, like nurture that spiritual side of them. And imagine, who we can become if that part of us is nurtured from a young age, right? the other message that came through simultaneously just then is that you might actually be meant to work as a birth doula or a death doula, and you would be really incredible during those transitions, okay? For some reason, Spirit's talking about spiritual career, okay? And it's because the gifts that you hold in this lifetime, your spiritual gifts, you are meant to use them as your career. You're meant to 100% weave them into your work and your career, okay? And you might do it in an unofficial way or an official way, because you take whatever resonates. For example, I remember I saw some viral video about a woman who worked as a hospice carer, a nurse in a hospice situation, and she had so many spiritual experiences of seeing spirits and seeing the Passover process. And it was just such a beautiful perspective. So that's what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be officially your career, but Spirit really wants to make it clear that it is meant to be your career. Okay, that's come through so strongly since I started, is that you're too gifted and talented to not make this your life purpose. Spirit really does not want you hiding away in a job that's unfulfilling to you, okay, or in a career path that isn't welcoming of your gifts, of all of who you are. Because I'm getting some energy where it's you might have felt like you had to shut away some of your gifts at different points in your life, or you may have felt it's sort of giving me the energy of you might have been told that your sensitivity was a burden, or that you had to toughen up. And the thing is that you can't toughen up a highly sensitive person. That's not how it works. You're not meant to numb out the senses, okay? The senses are heightened for a reason, because it's how you are designed. It's your design. It's your divine blueprint. You're meant to be highly sensitive because it helps you to pick up on information in your environment. You're highly sensitive because you're highly psychic, because you're highly intuitive, because you're highly attuned to the emotional registers as well in the environment. You're very emotionally sensitive and emotionally intelligent and emotionally intuitive. I think it just comes so effortlessly to you, and it's just who you have always been. You've always been designed in this way. I feel like you're an emotional intuitive. You really understand the inner workings of someone's mind. You really understand why people feel the way they do, why people make the decisions that they do, and therefore you have empathy for them. I feel like a lot of the time, when people are maybe not feeling empathy for someone, it's because they're not taking the time to maybe understand, obviously not in every situation, but I'm just trying to articulate what I'm feeling. But it's we sometimes don't feel empathy because we don't understand what someone is actually going through, or the perspective that they're having, or, the history that they're coming from, or the unique challenges that they're facing, or the fears that they have, and we can misunderstand behavior, okay? And we can kind of, project onto it. I'll give you an example, okay? So I was seeing there was a dog, there's a dog rescue shelter, and it was posting near me. And it was talking about how there's this beautiful dog called Star. Can you believe it? Their name was Star, and there was this beautiful border collie, this white border collie. Anyway, and Star had come in. They'd been abandoned because they said that they weren't following instructions, okay? They weren't able to be trained, and they weren't following instructions. So Star came into this rescue, and the rescue found out that the dog was actually deaf, right? So the reason that they weren't following instructions or following commands or unable to be trained is because they had hearing impairment. They were deaf. So they needed a sensitivity. They needed someone to be empathic to their needs, to help them, to train them in an alternative ways, because there are ways of training dogs, who have vision impairment or hearing impairment. I even saw a dog trainer who had been able to train a dog using sensory things, because they were both blind and deaf. So they could train them using touch. It was really beautiful. All right, so that's what I'm getting, is that you have that gift of being able to have empathy and sensitivity, and to look deeper into what someone is going through. With Star, the dog, you would have been able to tune in deeper and been like, oh, I think Star can't hear us. I think that's what it is. Instead of just, getting angry and not having empathy for Star, and just being like, oh, this dog is misbehaving. And that's often the case with children as well, is that when children are acting out, with behavior, misbehaving, or even dogs as well, animals, it's because they're trying to communicate something. They're trying to say something. They're trying to get their needs met. They're trying to express something that has not been expressed, that has not been acknowledged. And so it's always a form of communication. And I feel like you are really attuned to being able to read that communication, to being able to read what those hidden messages are, when we might not be able to explicitly say, I feel scared, I feel vulnerable, I feel upset, but we might say it with our behavior. And that's exactly what, dogs and children do, for example, or cats, or whatever, animals. It's really, really interesting. So yeah, you have some kind of specific gift and attunement with animals and with children. that feels like it really wants to come through, and that you will probably feel like you need to have that in your life. Like you need to nurture that in your life in some way, like working with animals in some way, or with children, or having the experience of caring for children yourself, something like this. I feel like it's a part of your blueprint and it's part of your life mission. Like you will probably already, I feel like you want to caretake, right? But yeah, your compassion, it's rare, and it might have been confusing for you to feel like, why is my compassion so rare, or why is my heart so rare, or something like this. Like, why is this level of empathy, like not everyone has this? And Spirit's kind of showing me that like the way that you're designed with your sensitivities is actually like how, humans are really actually meant to be designed. And I think that you actually reflect that to people as well. There's something where you feel things that other people don't feel, or you reflect to people things that they have neglected. That's actually something I heard this perspective. It was like, I think it was Carl Jung. It was something like the empath is not a healer. The empath is actually meant to be a mirror and like to show you what you are feeling, what you are really. Wow, I just actually had such a huge vision come in, because if you think about it, that is what really, it's the recognition, it's being able to be seen. I think it's about being seen. That's what an empath does, is they are able to see through things that other people, like the mask, like a child's behavior. If they're acting out and then you see that they're actually really sad or they're really tired, and then you give them their needs and it's like, okay, it's time for a cuddle, it's time to go to bed now. And then that child can kind of like fall into that because they feel seen, instead of if you get angry at them and you discipline them and then they get more and more, wound up. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like that kind of difference in being sensitive to what is really happening in that moment. What is that person really feeling? What's their real motive? What are they really saying? And you hear what people actually say. You hear what children actually say. You hear what animals actually say. Oh, it's beautiful, and it's heartbreaking as well. Like it makes me kind of cry, because it's something about being able to pierce through the illusion, the illusion of disconnection, and you bring that heart space back, you bring that humanity back. And this is triggering for people. Like I said, some people might not be able to stay in your energy field very long, because a lot of people have a lot of buried things that you know, they don't want to see. And empaths can see things. I feel like you're this classic empath in that you see through people's defenses and you see their insecurities. Like it's the classic, someone who's very insecure might have a lot of bravado and a lot of arrogance, and, they might be, but really on the inside, it's because they're feeling really insecure and they need a lot of approval, and they think attention, gives them that. It's like you can see that, you can decode that in an instant. Like as soon as you see someone, it's almost like you can see them and you're like, oh, this is, I see you. And for better or for worse, okay? Because sometimes that's really beautiful and healing and touching for people, and sometimes that's really triggering for people, okay? That's what I mean. It's like sometimes that's going to really trigger people and they're going to not like that. And they're going to be like, no, I do not want to be around you, because you have a certain light. See the whiteness of this dove? You have a bright white light, and it feels exposing to certain people, okay? In a good way and in a bad way, like I said, a triggering way and in a really healing way. Just depends on the person you connect with. But Spirit's saying that's duality. And your gifts aren't meant to be different. Like maybe sometimes you feel confused, like, why do I trigger people? I only bring love, or I only bring compassion to them. But sometimes love and compassion is triggering, okay? Sometimes love and compassion, sometimes someone with a really open heart is extremely triggering. And it's like, what is this? It can be a foreign energy kind of to come across. So you are actually the original human design. Like that's who you are. And the fact that you've ever been made to feel like who you are is like less than, or that you had to toughen up in some way, that is just to show like how far from the original human design that the earth has kind of like warped itself into. But yeah, the human design is meant to be so heart-based. It's so heartfelt and so empathic, to the point where we wouldn't even be able to hurt one another. We wouldn't even be able to hurt our environment. We wouldn't be able to mindlessly destroy or consume or anything like this, because we would be too aware, we would be too sensitive. We would feel the weeping of the trees, of the land, of the earth, the heartbeat of the earth itself. Like that's how we are designed. That's how we are meant to be. We're meant to be guardians of this earth as well. We are meant to protect children. We're meant to protect animals. We're meant to protect each other. And that's the heart energy that you hold. Like it's a fierceness as well. There's a warrior energy in you, okay? Whichever gender, but I feel like you have some kind of maybe within you, it's funny because like I said, there was a shyness within you, but I actually feel like you're a leader, okay? Yeah, you have a leadership energy because you come from wisdom and you also listen. Okay, the reason that you're such a great leader is because you listen. You listen to others. That's actually one of your superpowers, is that you're able to listen. Wow, this is amazing. But there was some kind of block in the throat chakra. It's something about, yeah, you like really coming into your power, really coming into your voice. That's the archetype that I see. I actually see you as like this very kind of like a tribal leader. Like, I don't know how to articulate the imagery I'm seeing. It's almost like giving me the energy of like some kind of a mystical race, like from a different like a different planet, a different country, a different planet, like some kind of a different star lineage. And I'm seeing you as like a leader, like a like tribal leader, like a warrior. Really interesting. So there's something about spirit saying like part of your soul blueprint is to like heal something about heartbreak or betrayal. And even just like I said, like the fact that you as this original energy has kind of been made to feel like that it's wrong is something that you're healing. You're healing that wound of like being told, oh, you're too sensitive, you know? Or just even the wound of like being really empathic in a world where it feels like people are really cut off from their empathy, you know? Like, yeah, you might have you might care a lot and you might wonder like, where is everyone's care, you know? So Spirit's saying that, you know, don't underestimate the strength and the power that it takes to have this kind of energy system and this energy like setup. It takes extreme strength. You have to be a very strong soul to be able to carry this frequency that you have right now at this time on Earth, where Earth is still healing the heart space. Where like basically our journey right now as humans incarnate on Earth is to heal the heart space of the Earth, which is healing our own heart space and therefore healing the Earth as well. That's what you're here to do. And like trust and believe that you have to be a very powerful, very strong soul to hold the sensitivity that you're holding in current Earth grid, okay? Because current Earth grid, oof, you know, that means that you are sensitive and you are feeling energies that, you know, most people would never want to have to feel, but you're feeling it times 10, you know, you're feeling everything. You're feeling other people's stuff, you know, there's so much that you're feeling. So like, if you've ever been made to feel like you are weak for having this level of sensitivity, like think again, okay? Think again. This is not weakness. This takes incredible strength. This takes the kind of strength that others can like not even fathom, okay? So that's something Spirit wants you to know in terms of, yes, you might be gentle, you might be peaceful, you might be, you know, not very loud or in your face, but are you powerful, okay? And you are wise and you are strong and you come from a lineage, like a star lineage of leadership. And that will rise in you again if it has not already. You will rise again in this lifetime as a leader because you can't not. You know, it's like a law of gravity, like it just will. So that's something Spirit wants you to know. Okay, so yeah, I heard as well like that you listen to energy. I'm hearing like you can listen to the wind, to the air, and you'll be able to hear like messages in the air, or you'll be able to hear messages from the sounds of an ocean or the sounds of a forest or the sound of a bird song, or you can listen, like I said, to the energy field if you're around an animal and you can telepathically receive messages from them. Okay, there's something really strong about listening and around sound. I also feel the energy of air coming through with the dove spirit. There's something like very fast about the way that messages are able to come to you. That's why I get a lot of telepathy for this group. Like I feel like things will just show up in your brain and it'll just be like a knowing, like, oh, I just know this about this person, or I can see it really clearly. And you'll definitely be able to see things that other people can't. Like, and you'll be able to see, like, read energy from, you know, like I said, someone's, like, even just, you know, the lines in people's faces, you know, can tell a story, or you know, there's something like that where it's like you really read things that other people really cannot see. You're also meant to feel things that other people have neglected, that other people have abandoned, like that other people have been numb to. You are meant to bring feeling to places that have been numb. You are meant to bring light to places that have been dark. Like you're meant to bring awareness to things that have been ignored or neglected. Okay? And there is something that might be more silent about your energy. Like, because I keep getting this energy of listening. Like you might be able to communicate in silence. Like you might have a telepathic communication with an animal without opening your mouth, or maybe it's an alternative communication, like maybe it's light language or something, right? So it's like you're kind of communicating in some kind of an alternative way, or you might like writing, which is silent, more silent thing. Yeah, there's something very silent about your energy, or it's because Spirit's saying, remember your gift of listening. You actually have such a gift of being able to listen. You know, it's also giving me, like neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. They say that with when someone speaks, they kind of like reveal a lot about, their inner beliefs, their inner world, their inner, you know, yeah, their paradigm kind of thing. And then you can sort of uncover it in yourself as well when you study your own kind of speech patterns. Anyway, it's giving me that, where it's like you have this natural inbuilt way of like already having been trained in neuro-linguistic programming and like already be able to tell like, oh yeah, this person believes this thing, because you could hear it in the way that they spoke. You know what I mean? So yeah, you are really strong emotional intuitive, and you're very strong with like transmuting emotional energy and emotional density. I feel like that's a huge part of your gift. It's not really that you're meant to take on the burdens of others, but I think that you would find that you inadvertently do take on energy from others. Okay. Um, that is something that Spirit's saying you are going to be able to free yourself from more and more over your lifetime, because I do think that you may have gotten really weighed down in processing abandoned energy on the earth. And that's part of what you do. Like, you do process a lot naturally. And I'm seeing that you actually do that without any burden to yourself. Like, you can process sort of neglected energy around you. But I also see that sometimes that process can get too far. It's almost like Spirit showing me, it's almost like you don't know how to stop. And that's the thing. It's like you can actually have, it's almost like having a cleaner going off in the background. Like, I don't know, putting on the dishwasher and then walking away. And it's like, that thing is cleaning up without you having to think about it. And that's kind of how you're designed. Like, you almost have this like cleaning energy where you're like cleaning emotional energy around you all the time. But Spirit's saying you also need to like turn it off and like have an off switch, because that's the problem that gets you burnt out, is that there's almost like no off and on. Okay. It's almost like you're meant to have times of the day where that you're kind of processing things, and then times of the day where you are giving yourself time to recharge. All right. And I'm seeing that you're going to naturally start to work, like you're going to start to find the energy within yourself. I've always found with spiritual gifts that like it's a lifelong journey of like getting to know what our gifts are, who we are, and how we're meant to use them and how we're designed. So I do hope that this reading will help, but I'm seeing something like you're meant to find almost like an off switch inside of yourself. Like, your work with energy is really highly advanced. So even just your intentions and like sending energy visually, that might also be why I kept saying that it's silent, is that you might get a lot of messages visually through your clairvoyance. That's what I'm seeing now. I'm actually closing my eyes as I'm tuning in, because I'm getting a lot of energy inwards. So Spirit's saying you can find inside of yourself almost like visually kind of do this off and on switch. And this is what I did actually, you guys, when I first opened to having my mediumship gifts in 2019, is that I found that I had a lot of spiritual visitation, and that it was like really a lot. And I didn't even know, I felt like it was too much. So I made this boundary, and I've just kept this boundary where the spirits like can't come into my home or, my backyard. And it's only if I'm intentionally kind of opening to it that I will start to sort of perceive what's around me. Or if I'm just out and about, I'll just might see spirits like walking around and stuff. But there's sort of like, you have to have boundaries with psychic abilities. And that's something that, no one gives you a handbook, no one gives you a guidebook. You just have to write it yourself. You have to write your own way and find your own path, because each one of us is unique, and the way we're designed is unique, and the way that we're meant to work with our gifts is unique. Like, that's just how we are designed. Like, we're designed for different things. So yeah, there's something here. It's like, it might sound kind of like elusive. Like, how do I have boundaries with my psychic abilities? Or how do I have boundaries with spiritual energy? But it's like, you actually can. And it's really just through intention. And also like sort of a visual, like I almost visually see myself surrounded by protective energy, where my energy is my own, and I'm not, having other people's energies coming in. Things like this make more of a difference than you realize, especially for someone like you who's like very, very gifted with this kind of thing. I feel like you have soul contracts with people, all right, that may be painful, because you show people what they haven't felt, and you reflect to people what they haven't dealt with, okay? And that might kind of be painful for you, because people might not be able to tolerate being around your energy field sometimes because of themselves, but they might project it onto you and be like, oh, I can't be around you, and it's you. But it's really something that you're really showing them inside of themselves, right? So I feel like you feel what others cannot feel, and that might be very have been like, a bit painful, obviously, because, well, for so many reasons. Yeah, you feel what other people can't feel. And it's been very true. I feel like that's something Spirit's saying is like, your gifts have always been true, but I feel like there's been something about it that people may be so disconnected with themselves that they don't understand almost like what you're perceiving in them, if that makes sense. It's very interesting energy, okay? The other thing that I wrote down is that I feel that you've had a past life as a light being, okay? This is different from that star ancestry that I was seeing where you were kind of like a tribal leader on a different planet from a different star lineage, but this is different. Like I'm seeing you have a past life that's actually quite recent where you were literally just a light. Like you weren't really incarnate in a body or like in a place. You were more just like a being of light, and you were more like in a light body, right? It was like, yeah, it's like a different dimensional experience, I suppose. It's much more like unified. And this was quite a recent lifetime I'm being shown. And so you bring a lot of that energy into this life where you have a very like strong light body, because like I said, you have a very recent incarnation where you just were that, you just were light. And I think that you're very good in this lifetime of just being. Like I think you're very good at with just being, not necessarily doing, but just being, and just being with things in silence, or seeing, visually seeing, or going inwards. Spirit saying to work even more, to work on trusting yourself and to trusting in your gifts, because you may have gotten literally zero validation for your gifts growing up or in your lifetime. You may have had like some experience where you may have felt like, why am I wired like this? And it feels like no one speaks this language that I'm speaking, or something like this. Like I'm seeing isolation from these gifts. But Spirit's saying, in a way, you designed it like this, so you developed a very strong relationship with yourself. And so that you developed a very strong relationship with your inner world. Okay, so I am seeing that you are meant to have some kind of a holy trinity in this lifetime, like experiencing some kind of a three, like maybe, having a partnership and then having a child for some of you, or I don't know, somehow working with threes, something about the energy of three. I'm just getting that for some reason is important, working with the energy of three. Okay. I'm also getting, because of your light being past life, you hold like this peaceful, tranquil energy that you kind of actually just bring wherever you go. Like you just have this energetic effect on the world around you where you bring like a light, and it brings peace, and it brings tranquility, it brings safety, it brings blessings. Spirit's also saying like you can bring blessings to animals in nature. Like just outside my door actually recently, there's a little pond, and there's these local ducks that just had some ducklings, and they're so beautiful, and there's these beautiful ducklings, and when I saw them the other day for the first time, it was just such a beautiful symbol. But I also felt like I just gave them a little light language blessing, and surrounded them with, like light and love to give them protection for their life and for this vulnerable part. And I just felt the love from those duck parents. It was so beautiful. So that's what I'm seeing as well. Spirit saying is like, don't underestimate kind of blessings like that. Like, cause that's what Spirit showed me, is that those kind of blessings actually make quite a big difference. And we've kind of been almost led to believe as humans that we're like not like that what we do isn't powerful for some reason, if it's, like that, if it's like the feminine, if it's, if we're not actually taking action. But I feel like you really defy that, and you really, really hold this energy of like, you are so powerful, even without opening your mouth, or that without, even just through visually sending energy, like sending light, like that is so powerful. And that's what Spirit really wants you to know about your gifts, like just how powerful it is. So yeah, I definitely think you were sensitive as a child. I got sensitive to the needs of children and animals and those without a voice. Yes, that's the energy that I got. It's like especially attuned. I feel like you're especially attuned to those without a voice. I feel like you're actually an inner child healer as well. That's something that you may want to explore. Like I feel like you'd be a very gifted inner child healer, and that you will have naturally always been healing your inner child and like nurturing yourself. You're very nurturing and loving. I feel like you're also a family pattern breaker, okay? So you may have needed to set very firm boundaries with family people and family energies. And certainly I feel like you were meant to, like I said, I feel like you kind of designed, this is just what I'm getting, so take what resonates, but I feel like you might have designed your life where you incarnated into a family that you didn't really fit in with, or you didn't really resonate with, or that didn't understand your psychic or spiritual sensitivities. And this was so that you would really foster a relationship with yourself. It might have felt quite cruel at the time to kind of feel quite neglected or rejected or something like this, or just disconnected. But Spirit's saying that it did serve a spiritual purpose of really strengthening a relationship within yourself, okay? You do absorb energy in order to in order to transmute it, like I said, a lot of the time this is done without any bother to you, just like if you load the dishwasher and then you set it and it's cleaning your dishes for you without you having to actually really do anything. So there's something like that where you do absorb and transmute energy everywhere you go without trying. But Spirit's saying that there's like something about intentionally shutting that off for periods of time so that you can rest. Spirit's saying to begin by doing that when you are needing a rest. Like if you're like, I really need a rest tonight, or I really need a rest day. Spirit's saying intentionally say, Spirit, I need a rest from my spiritual duties as well so that I can fully recharge at every level of my being. Kind of like setting an intention or a prayer like such as that, because I think that Spirit's saying it's not really rocket science. Like sometimes we make things harder than they really need to be. And I'm seeing that even just something like that you could really notice it and be like, oh, and then you can just set the intention like, Spirit, turn it back on for me when it's in my highest good for, that to start again. Because it is part of your mission to transmute energy. That is, especially emotional energy. I'm feeling like the emotional energy. Yeah, it is definitely part of your mission. It's not something that you're not meant to do, but it is something that you obviously would want to get a little bit of a handle on. Do you know what I mean? Spirit saying as well, you need to be very particular about who you're around and who you bring into your life and who you are in contact with, the relationships. That's why I said you might need to have very strong boundaries with your family or with even just whoever you end up meeting. People might feel very captivated by your energy because they're able to heal when they're in your presence. But that doesn't mean that it's a free-for-all, okay? And that's what I'm getting is Spirit saying, like, be very, 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 very particular, very, very picky, very, very particular, very choosy about who you let into your life and who is in your inner circle and who you are around, because you absorb energy, okay? That's why you absorb energy like crazy, right? And it's just who you are. And Spirit's saying that you're not meant to have this turned off very often. It's just if you really need a break to recharge, or like you can get into the habit of maybe just saying, I don't know, while you meditate or something, you want to just focus the energy on yourself. Like there's something about knowing how to shift energy back to yourself. Okay, this is the best way I can articulate it. It's like going from kind of absorbing all this energy from everyone else around you, and therefore kind of in a way you're processing energy for the earth, for the collective. It's like, how can you move from being collective to individually focused? Because for you, that's something that you actually need. Like look at this, the way that the wings are spread out. It's like your arms are literally spread. It's like you're open-hearted to the world. And Spirit's saying you also have to like hold yourself. It's like nurture yourself intentionally. And you might not even need that much time. Like this is really tripping me out, but I'm being shown like if you just say, oh, I need an hour tonight, Spirit, of like really recharging myself. And Spirit's going to be like, click, all right, energy shifts and you move into recharge mode, okay? This is what Spirit wants you to know. It's like you can work with your spiritual gifts where you know how to recharge, okay? That's what Spirit wants you to know. You can work with your spiritual gifts in a way where you are able to recharge yourself. You're able to know how to work on yourself, not just working on the world around you, okay? But yeah, you know that saying where they say like you're the sort of sum of the 5 people you hang around the most? That is very true, especially for you, because you literally take on everyone's energy, even more so than the average human being, which is like already a lot because we are interrelational beings. But like, you really do this. So you really need to make sure you're okay. Like, you literally, like, would you want this person's energy within you? Like, are you okay with that? Like, are you okay with holding this person's energy? You know what I mean? Like, you have to really decide that and discern that and not feel guilty or mean if someone's not a match for you, because you just have a bit of a particular energy and it's like, you're just not a match for everyone. And Spirit might also do this thing where Spirit actually might take people out of your life. Spirit might be like, no, and make the decision for you, because you might have, or this might be something that maybe happened more in the past. Like if you're better at boundaries now, you might already be doing this for yourself. But I'm feeling like you might have had some experiences in life where, yeah, like people all of a sudden were not eligible for your energy anymore. Like that's the best way I can put it. And sometimes we can want to still give to someone, but like karmically, we might not be able to do that, even if you still want to. And I feel like that might have been something you've learned, is you might still want to give to people, but it's like almost like their karma can't allow it and it takes them out of your life, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, it is kind of heartbreaking, but you are a real blessing. And like, you also have a spiritual energy and a spiritual light that is a certain mission that has to be like maintained. It's almost like a garden, right? You can't let all these weeds overgrow it and these like invasive species take over, because then the garden can't breathe. And that sort of Spirit saying is like, yeah, you have very protective spirit guides that kind of like pull the weeds out of your garden for you. But yeah, you really don't need to feel guilty. I feel like you're peace needs to be protected, and you have very protective spirit guides that do that for you. All right, that is from all we have time for group one. Oh my gosh, what an incredible reading you had. I really would recommend my pattern interrupt light language tape for this group. I feel like you might really resonate with that tape, especially as you are like shifting how you are transmuting energy right now. Um, yeah, you could read more about it. I'll link it down below. Might also really want to check out my inner child healing as well, especially if you feel drawn to being an inner child healer in this life, or you feel like there may be still work to do with supporting your inner child. I'll link that down below. And yeah, I'm just sending you so much love and light. Take care. Hello, group 2, and welcome to your reading. Nina, hi. Gonna join us, sweetie? So you chose the whale spirit, trust the great mystery, and your energy feels particularly connected to water, okay? But also all of the elements. I feel like the main gift that I'm picking up as soon as I tune in for you is actually elemental wisdom, like really being gifted with the elements, fire, water, air, earth, and spirit, like all of the, bringing them all together, but particularly water for you, or spirit saying particularly to work with the water element at this time in your journey. But for many of you, you might feel you are a water soul, that you've always connected to water. And spirit saying to go even deeper than that, like to go even deeper with that connection to water right now with the whale spirit. Spirit wants you to like dive deep to go into this water connection, especially because you are activated by water. Okay, just who you are is activated by the water, but especially right now, like it's heightened right now. So oceans, rivers, lakes, streams, creeks, waterfalls, rainwater, baths, showers. If that's all that's available, then okay, just have a shower. Like that's going to activate you anyway, it really will. You're going to find, you might have channeling come through in the shower. You might have really great ideas come through. But if you are desiring to connect more with, the natural world, with nature and water elements, I feel like Spirit's going to support you to do this. And that's something Spirit wants you to know. It's like you can actually have this connection to water, like be more a part of your daily life. If you're feeling disconnected, or if you're feeling like, oh, I really need to, live by the beach so I can go swimming in the ocean every day. Spirit's like, we can make that happen for you, okay? Because this is who you are. You're very activated by water. Like I said, all the elements, it might be different for you at different times in your life. But particularly water, I'm feeling like you're really designed to move energy, all right? And as I said that, Nina moves, how funny. But yeah, I feel like you're really designed to kind of like move energy and not to have it be held stagnant or stuck. With water, it's always moving, like the ocean, the tides. You might be connected to the moon and the moon cycles as well to do with your psychic abilities. You might find you're really psychic when it's a full moon or a new moon or something. But yeah, I feel like you have something about cycles. Actually, now I'm tuning in with the moon. You change just like how the moon changes. It's never, it's never one size. It's always changing. It's like, from the new moon to the full moon and down again. There's something here about how you move. You ebb and you flow. You rise up and you fall down. There's something about this. You're constantly moving. You're constantly changing. You might really want to check out my flow state activation tape. It's a light language tape that's really great for getting into flow state. I feel like that's who you are and how you're meant to live your life is like literally in flow state. And that tape might help you to align with that in your everyday life so that you're actually living completely in alignment with this, because I could see that it might be something that you're still maybe moving into, because the level of alignment with this flow state that I'm seeing is like you're meant to do this all of the time. They talk about flow state really happening as well with athletes and stuff, like especially athletes who are doing kind of more like high risk activities. I remember reading a book about it and it's really interesting. I can't remember what it's called though. Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, I just remembered it was Stephen Kotler, the flow state books that I read. Okay, so there's something here though. It's like you're meant to be in flow state like all the time. You're meant to move. You're meant to be moving, and energy is not meant to stay stuck within you. Okay, you're meant to move energy through you. You might also find activity, because I said athletes, you might find activity helps you, like actually moving, swimming, or even just having water run over you. Like I said, a shower that would help to move energy through you, because yeah, you are meant to be really moving. Like rain, rain moves things through. It like washes the ground. There's something about the way that your energetic blueprint is that you're like water, you're like running water, and therefore you're very cleansing. Okay, you're very highly cleansing to the world around you. And I feel like that can be something that someone has to be prepared to withstand to be in relationship with you, okay? Because it's like the longer that they're with you, the more of this water effect they'll have in their system. And the more that this water comes through, the more that they are getting cleansed and cleared of past limitations. And people need to be ready for emotional depths. If they want to meet you in relationship, they got to be like a whale spirit. They got to be able to go down really deep, into places that a lot of people are afraid, okay? because like the depths of the ocean, right? It's like not a place that many humans would go, right? But whales are very comfortable there. So there's something here about this where it's like you're comfortable in places that a lot of people might find scary, especially emotional places, especially to do with the depths of emotional connection that you're very comfortable with, that you find, comes to you very easily. But for other people, that would be terrifying. So there's something about that. You might find something about you really can't handle shallow connections. You really can't have surface level connections. You need depth. You need someone to have depth and to hold depth. Yeah, there's something really interesting here about relationships coming through, like something about people need to be able to be like, you might find that people really love your energy at first, and then maybe they get triggered by it over time, and that might be confusing to you, like why? Like why would this happen? And it's because, like I said, it's like your energy is like water, and it just keeps washing through and washing through and washing through, and it almost is like you move at a rate that most people can't keep up with as well. That's the other thing. It's like your energy is washing through things at a rate that's constantly moving. Whereas, I mean, I guess it's just that not everyone's designed this way, It just is that way. It's as simple as that. Not everyone's designed in the way you are, and therefore it might not be the best match. But I feel like sometimes that can be like there's something where spirit's saying to recognize that there are other whale spirits around, okay, that can go to that depth with you, that have that have that ability to swim there, to go there. And I feel like that's what spirit wants you to know, because you may have met a lot of people, like for some reason I brought that up, right? You may have met people that couldn't handle you, that could only handle you for small periods because of the level of emotional depth that you go to. They haven't gone there. They haven't been there. And that might have made you feel rejected at times because maybe you brought up topics or something and people were like rejecting of it. But it's just because of something in them. Spirit saying you're like very wise, you may have had this very deep energy from a very young age as well. And yeah, so spirit saying there are like soul family here for you. That's the other thing. Something to do with your spiritual gifts is connected to soul family. You're meant to meet soul family in this lifetime, and they're like going to be at your level, and they're going to be like other whale spirits kind of, symbolically, that can like go down to that level with you, and you feel such deep connection. And whales have really beautiful relationships. Actually, whales are one of the most beautiful animals. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna cry if I think about them. But there's something really like sacred about the like relationships in your lifetime, in this life, that you're meant to have like quite magic relationships with people, very, very sacred soul family relationships. Some of you will already be in relationship with at least one of these people, but I do feel like you're meant to kind of have a little group of you. Um, okay, so yeah, you are a channel of cleansing and renewal, okay? That is very true. Like, and that's why I said some people can't handle that, even though it's a gift. Like, you are a gift. But I feel like once you really meet your people, you're going to feel like a lot more understanding of yourself, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like you kind of know thyself a little bit through relationship in this lifetime. It's how you're designed. It's how you've designed things. You're meant to learn a lot about yourself through relationships with others. And yeah, I feel like you're going to find relationships really help you to know yourself and to recognize like, oh, I'm a really deep person. Like I'm very emotionally in tune. I'm very fast. Like you're very fast. That's the other thing. It's like, it's not that you're deep, but you're also like, you process things quickly. You move on from situations. You move through things at a rate that other people might not be able to keep up with. Um, and I feel like, yeah, something about being around soul family, it's going to be really, really nourishing for you because you all grow at the same rate, at the same trajectory. So you can all stay in each other's lives. Whereas I feel like maybe you've had an experience where you may have outgrown people, places, situations, circumstances quite quickly. And yeah, there may have been sort of a pain of that. I feel like you maybe have a Lemurian connection or a Syrian connection. I don't know, something about like starseed energy as well that you hold. And it's like you want to get back to that energy. There's something like that. You're here to like help people to get back to that. Like you hold a blueprint of an ancient energy with the whale. Yeah, I feel like you have a very ancient energy and you're meant to hold that ancient blueprint and help others to kind of come home to themselves through clearing and cleansing away emotional debris or anything really. Clearing, clearing and cleansing. All things. You're here to clear and cleanse, clear and cleanse. And like I said, sometimes that can become overwhelming for people because they can be like, oh my gosh, there's too much. There's too much to clear and cleanse. Like it's just never ending. But it's like something about you just stay in the flow state of it. You're just constantly moving through it. And yeah, you really stay flowing. I definitely feel an otherworldly, like mystical, magical energy to do with your group. Like I feel like the Lemurian connection or a Syrian starseed connection, or definitely like ocean spirit connection, like actual ocean animals, but specifically as well things like mermaid or merfolk from the oceans or different elementals that live in the oceans. That's what I feel like specifically is coming through right now in your energy field and maybe again who you are. But because I feel the broader elemental connection for this group, like fire, water, air, and water, although water, like I said, is coming through most strongly. You may connect with all kinds of elementals, of course, but yeah, I am feeling ocean vibes from you. And certainly, yeah, like a mermaid, merfolk kind of energy. I feel like you have very strong connection to the ocean or to the weather, maybe to storms as well. You might feel weather patterns quite deeply within yourself, or you might notice the changes and the shifts of the weather. And also, people might think you're a bit like weather, like you might have 4 seasons in one day. Like you might move through things quite quickly. Like you move through, crying and then you're happy and laughing, and you move through things. I feel like you might also really be able to read energy in other people, like really read emotions in people. You might be able to read emotion specifically in someone's voice as well, be able to kind of hear what they're going through. Or you might be able to read emotion, like, yeah, because whales, whales have that sonar communication. They communicate through vibrations, right? Um, there's something like that. Like you feel the vibration that's coming through. It's not really what someone says, but it's the vibration, or it's not really what someone's doing, but it's the frequency, the vibration in which they're doing it, and that's what you read. You read a deeper thing. You read a deeper energy, a deeper layer, and that's a layer that a lot of people miss. And a lot of people might be like, no, they're not sad. They just told us that they were fine. And you're like, yeah, but I can tell that they're actually sad. They're not fine. And someone will be like, that's not what they said. And it's like, yeah, but you don't, that's not what they said. It's what they meant. That's what you're really good at. You're really good at reading and feeling what people were actually like feeling. I feel like you're a natural emotional healer. I feel like you naturally emotionally heal yourself, especially to do with themes of grief. You might really understand about grief or heartbreak or relationships, like how to heal from relationships. You might also be really soothing to people who are going through anxiety, fear, or panic. I feel like you'd be a very strong soothing force if someone was in your life. Like I feel like being around your energy would just be so refreshing. Like it would literally be like an aura cleanse every time someone's around you, which is a gift. Um, but someone has to be willing to keep up with you and to do the work at the same rate. And just we're all designed differently, really. And the thing is that that's why it's so important for you to meet your soul family so that you can feel like, oh, the way I'm designed is actually perfect. Because you might feel like sometimes maybe you feel a bit like too much, like maybe you're too much for people or something. And the spirit's saying you're not too much or you're not too little, you're just perfect exactly as you are. Hello, group two. I am actually coming back to re record the end of your reading because half or more of your reading actually the audio got disrupted, so I wasn't able to use it. So we are back, and for whatever reason, I always trust that these things happen, because for whatever reason, spirit wants me to kind of retune in with the energy and maybe bring through the different messages or in a new way. But a lot of the energy that I'm just tuning into, it feels very familiar to what I channeled. I'm tuning in a couple days later, so yeah, so let's get into it. So, your soul level gifts, your spiritual abilities. I feel like one of the things that I don't think was kept in the reading is your ability to move through the dreamscape, okay, the astral plane. You have very strong connection to dreams and to healing within dreams, okay? You would be really great at doing lucid dreaming or some kind of astral work consciously, something like attuning to dreams more consciously, maybe dream journaling or helping other people to understand dreams, because you have some kind of way with symbols. Like you speak the language of the astral realm. That's what I'm getting. It's like you speak different languages of this universe. Wow, this is really beautiful. I'm getting, yeah, you speak many languages. And one of the languages you speak is dream. Like you know how to speak dream, you know? And a lot of people can feel a bit like lost, with dreams, and they might not know how to navigate understanding what their dreams are telling them. And I feel like you would be someone that is really good at intuiting and understanding what the astral space is trying to say to us and what it means, and how the astral space is also a part of us. It's a connection that is not so much separate to us. I feel like there's something about this, yeah. I feel like that's one of your spiritual gifts is that you are a really strong dream guide. I feel like you would show up maybe in other people's dreams to help them as a guide, like a guiding force, a star. Yeah, I feel like you have a starlight energy as well. Like, I see that many of you would be seen as a north star to others, or you would be seen as some kind of a spirit guide. I feel like that's one of your spiritual gifts actually, is that you have like a spirit guide energy. Actually, I was about to pull cards, and back of the deck on this animal spirit deck, we have the lion spirit. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this. And the lion spirit energy always makes me think of spirit guides. Okay. It's just a personal connection that I have. So I feel like, yeah, there is some energy of you that is like a spirit guide. All right. We also have this butterfly energy here. Transformation is beautiful. Wow. So part of your gift is your ability to continuously transform. Yes. And you do have this energetic connection, I feel, with transformation, with almost the archetype of the phoenix as well, because I'm feeling with this whale spirit that you chose the energy of Scorpio, okay? And Scorpio rules like the deep parts of our ocean. And I feel like that's this energy that you have where you're able to go really deep to like the depths of the ocean. And then you're able to use that as a pathway of transformation, okay? I feel like you have a gift of transformation, kind of like rebirth, the process of the phoenix that is then reborn. That is like something that I feel like, yeah, is very connected to your spiritual gifts, is your ability to change. You might also have, I'm feeling like with the butterfly, the ability to shapeshift as well. People might tell you that you're a shapeshifter or that you look different all the time. People might not be able to keep up with your appearance, or you might find that different experiences show up in your appearance quite a lot. Like if you're feeling certain ways, you might look a certain way. Yeah, you have something about your appearance in this life that actually does express parts of your spiritual gifts. I feel like you're meant to be a bit of a shapeshifter and a transformer, and learn how to work with that as a power. Because I feel like some of the time that you may have had this gift where it sort of just happened and you may not have necessarily been in control of it. And there may have been a lot of shape shifting happening that might have been a little bit strange to you. Um, but Spirit saying this might be one of those gifts that you might have to grow into over your lifetime, where you learn about shape shifting and like from a positive space. I feel that actually you shapeshift in the dream world. I feel like that's something that you do. There is a shape shifting energy. You might shapeshift into different animals, like a lion, for example, on the astral plane. You might embody the energy of a lion or a whale or a butterfly or whatever it might be, a bird. And I feel like you go through, like, there's something very almost shamanic about the way that you connect maybe with the animal kingdom or with this shape shifting energy where you take on different forms. Okay, so let's keep going with your cards here. Spirit, what would you like this group to know? We have lizard spirit, dream the world into being. Wow, you are kidding. Dream, literally, the dream world. That is right. Okay, I'm going to get you one more card. All right, one card for group two spirit, one final card. Wow, we have a lovely card here. We have throw spirit, co-create with spirit. And then another card wanted to come through for you as well. So we'll find some space for it. We have dear spirit, bring a gentle touch. There's something about the gentleness of the deer that I feel like is really healing. They like the healing energy of love, of patience, of kindness, of being held, being embraced. Yeah, I feel like there's something about your energy that people find very, very healing. I feel like this might be something that you don't really try to do. It's more like in your nature. Like a deer isn't really trying to be a healing presence in nature. But other animals feel safe around a deer. There's a non-threatening presence. There's a message of safety sort of written in that gentleness. And I feel like that's sort of how you are in the world, actually. And it is quite nurturing. It is quite nourishing at a soul level to come across you out in the wild. So with the crow spirit, co-create with spirit, and then lizard spirit, dream the world into being. This is really interesting. Very spiritual. You have a very deeply spiritual energy with all of these archetypes coming through. I feel like I can really like feel the essence of your energy, and it's just so spiritual. Yeah, so you definitely do co-create with spirit without a doubt. Like your whole life is a co-creation. I feel like you are very open psychically, very open as a channel, as an emotional conduit as well. I feel like you are really clear you're very clear about your own emotions and you can clearly read the emotions in others. You can read emotions in others even if they can't read it in themselves. They might not even realize what they're feeling, but I feel like you would be able to tell. You would be able to kind of articulate it for them maybe, and maybe that's one of your gifts is that you can articulate the emotional landscape of others even if they can't do it for themselves. And therefore you can help bring to light things that have been buried or hidden. So however you like choose to use your gifts, Spirit saying, just go with whatever you feel like is right, because I just feel like there's this overflowing energy from your soul, like a water energy, where you kind of like are an overflowing energy of wanting to give to the world, wanting to heal, wanting to love. And so Spirit's saying like however you choose to direct that energy is going to be perfect. I feel like one thing that you are here to learn that's somehow a part of your mission, your soul mission, is something to do with learning about the more darker side of the world, or learning about more the evil side of duality, shall we say, and how there can be, some really quite dark things that occur on this earth at this time. And I feel like there's something about your mission where you're meant to see through some form of illusion, or you're meant to see the truth about duality and like understand both sides and not be kind of complacent or complicit with evil. Like, I feel like you might be someone who's really here to understand about boundaries with toxic people, understanding about energy vampires. And you might be wondering, like, how is this a soul gift? Or some of you might kind of know how it is, but it really is. The ability to have discernment at a spiritual level is extremely rare. Okay. So you have this very strong psychic ability, but you also have a very strong awareness and discernment around real energy dynamics that are occurring at this time in duality. I feel like you're very good at staying kind of grounded. I feel like with the whale spirit, you might have a capacity of processing more of the darker side of earth, like evil things, corruption, inequality. Like there's just so much crime, things like this. You might, for some reason, feel like your heart really is open to this side of life. Like you're really open to people who have gone through things, or there's something here about you understanding this side of earth, whereas a lot of people who are spiritually tapped in might sort of feel like it's not something they want to know about, or there might be sort of a, like a spiritual bypassing that can sort of happen at times in spiritual circles. And I feel like you're someone who might really see through that and really see through any kind of inauthenticity, and really you're really good at spotting like energy vampires or manipulators, like in TV shows or movies or something, when a manipulating character comes in and they are doing all these things behind everyone's back and people are falling for them, but maybe there's one person, like the main character, who sees that they're a manipulator and all their friends are like, what are you talking about? They're great. But like the person, as the viewer, you can see that this person is a manipulator and that they're causing all the trouble and that they're lying to everyone. And I feel like you're kind of like that person. You're like the viewer of things. Like you see through situations and you look and you see the truth and the heart of things, and you can understand. I think you're a really deeply intelligent, emotionally intuitive, but also like deeply understanding of human psychology. I feel like you understand why people act the way they do. Why do we, you know, why are manipulative people the way they are? Or why do people want attention in certain ways? Or why do people chronically lie? Or I feel like you always have some kind of insight about this, and you have a very fascinating kind of energy where I feel like people would get lost in your insights, especially your emotional intelligence though. Okay, this feels like a very deep emotional intelligence, like a psychology, like you would understand the psychology of why people are the way they are and why people act the way they do. And that's one of your gifts, is like to understand that, and maybe also to be able to observe that in ways that other people can't see it. Like you might be two people are looking at the same event, but they see it completely differently. And there's something about the way that you perceive things where you see what's hidden, what is normally or usually hidden. You see hidden motives or hidden agendas, or you see, people's really what their need is in that moment, for better or for worse, like not just for manipulative people, right? You see this also for like the goodness in people, where maybe someone is really asking that they want a hug, and you see that in that moment. You see what someone is actually needing in that moment, and you're like, here, come here, let me give you a hug, kind of thing. It's like there's something about you read energy and you always know what's really true. No matter what someone's saying, you hear what's true. That's what it is. No matter what the person is saying, you hear what is really true in that moment. and then you respond to the truth. And this might put people off guard a little bit because a lot of people are used to being responded to based on what they say, not what they are really saying. Do you know what I mean? Not what their emotions or their body language is saying, but it's like you're reading their emotions, you're reading their body language. Yeah, it's a very different frequency. Some of you might be very deeply connected to animals as well, because this is more of that kind of communication level in a way where animals aren't, like, you can't really lie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just are who they are and they're communicating based on their communication style. Yeah, there's something really interesting about this. It's like, it's a very strong ability to see through deception that you have as well. You might be able to smell, like, you might even be able to smell it in people. You might have really interesting psychic abilities where you smell things, or you taste psychic messages for some of you, or you might hear psychic messages, psychic sound, or for some of you, it might sort of be all of the above, and you have different things come in at different times, because I think that a lot of people who choose this group are extremely open psychically. I would say you have very open energy channels, and you might have things just pop in. I feel for you, you might need to work more with actually creating boundaries with your psychic abilities rather than opening them up. Of course, you might be at different points in your journey. This is a general reading, but who you are, like the actual blueprint that you have, is so open psychically that you will need to work to create boundaries with your psychic abilities so that they do not run your life, so that it's not like you're having these things popping in, all the time. Like, there is a way that we can filter psychic information so that it's not kind of chaos, because there is a huge world out there. And especially, like I said, you are very tuned into the astral realm, and you're going to find that the more that you expand within your abilities in life, the more that you're almost feeling like you are living in a different dimension. That's one of your abilities as well, is dimensional travel. And I feel like you're actually meant to almost move dimensions in this lifetime, and go ahead and move yourself to a higher dimension and go ahead and live there. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing as part of your psychic ability, is that you want to dimensionally travel and also live in a new dimension. Okay. Really interesting. That is actually the end of your reading group too. I feel the channel sort of pulling away there. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to check out and connect more with my work, I would really recommend my psychic activation light language healing for you for this group. I feel that many of you are already psychic. Some of you may be wanting to expand your psychic abilities, and in that case, this tape would really support you. But it would also support if you already are psychic and you want to have better boundaries, or you want to kind of refine your gifts as well. Whatever you're at with your psychic abilities, I feel like it would really support you. And you can also use your own intentions to work with it specifically. I'll link it down below. You can read more about it. And yeah, just sending you so much love and light. Take care. Hello, Group 3, and welcome to your reading. You are blessed with Nina here in your group today. So I have some notes that I'm going to read from first before I sort of go deeper into what else Spirit wants you to know, because I just had so much information come through for this reading. So group number 3 chose the Peacock Spirit with Let It Shine. You're definitely meant to be a star in this lifetime. That is a part of your spiritual gifts and abilities, is some kind of star quality. You shine bright like a diamond. There's a diamond quality that you hold, like a very bright light. You shine really bright, okay? That is one of the main energies that I'm getting, is wow, you have a very bright energy and aura to you. And you might have a problem actually where you might outshine others around you. And what I mean by this is that you may find that there is jealousy in the field around you, because someone who has an energy signature such as yours can't help but maybe others around might feel like you are sort of almost outshining them in some way. Okay. But you are really here more as the archetype of a rebel, or as a path breaker or a pattern breaker. You have the energy that is meant to disrupt others. And there's an energy in this light that harmonizes to divine truth. I feel like you shine a light that is of divine truth, but you shine very bright. I feel like there might be something about you that is very beautiful as well. I am seeing, see all the eyes on this peacock. It's almost like eyes around you. I'm seeing that there's meant to be many eyes on you in this lifetime. There might be something about your appearance. I keep seeing something about your beauty, but it could also just be about your work, your art, something like this. Eyes on your work, what you are creating, something very beautiful that you're creating in this lifetime. I feel like this is the group of creatives. You're meant to be a creative, and you are meant to let it shine in this lifetime. I feel like there's something about you. You're meant to be a visionary, a revolutionary, and a leader. And there's something about leaders where they don't really give a heck what other people think about them. They don't really care what other people think. And I feel like that's your truest sort of energy, is that you don't really care and you're meant to just shine your own light. But I do feel like that people have a really big reaction to you, okay, positive and negative. People love you, they get super inspired by you, but also people get very triggered by you. They may project things onto you, or they may try to sort of dim your light. That's really what it is, okay? That's the best way I can put it. Is like some people you may have found, they really tried to dim your light in your life, and that might have been quite confusing. Whereas other people really were inspired by your light. It's just that I feel like you have sort of an intensity in your light that some people might find hard to be around, because you are very liberated, you are very free, and you seem very aligned with divine truth and natural law as well, okay? There's something about maybe your alignment, is what I want to say. Your alignment can trigger people. Maybe you're very deeply in alignment, or you live with a lot of integrity, or you have a lot of beauty. You have a lot of light at the end of the day. And yeah, some people can feel outshone, and that's a very interesting kind of path that you are walking. I mean, look at this peacock. Like, the peacock cannot help but be fabulous and beautiful and stunning and, eye-catching. I mean, that's the whole point of a peacock, is that it's meant to be extremely eye-catching, right? It's meant to be extremely sort of like in your face. Wow, this is extremely beautiful. And that's you, okay? That's part of your gift, is something about you are eye-catching, or your work is the art that you create. You channel something that is very eye-catching, and it's of a very beautiful quality. There's something about you might be very connected to beauty and visual art. Or again, it's about you yourself. You have some kind of a beauty that may be eye-catching. You have an aura that is eye-catching. People can't help but feel like, hey, you have something that's different about you. But yeah, I feel like you're meant to break patterns, okay? You're meant to break patterns in your own life, in your own kind of karma, whatever karma you may have incarnated with, the personal kind of patterns that you have gone through in your life. You're here to really break them down and repattern your life to being something that is really beautiful and purposeful. And I feel like you also would be very much here to disrupt energy in your family line and in your family lineage. And that's part of your gift, is that you're very good at liberating karmic energy and bloodlines, okay? That's something that you're really good at doing. Yeah, you're really powerful at that, is what I'm being shown. So whichever bloodline you incarnate into is very lucky to have you, because it will clear up a lot of energy. It will liberate a lot of ancestors. Like, there's something like a celebration I'm seeing if you incarnate into that family. It's like, oh, we've been given a gift. Whatever that looks like, down here in the earth story, but I'm seeing in the spirit realm, it is liberation, it is freedom. You are clearing things, you're breaking patterns. Yeah, I feel like you have some kind of a timeline clearing. You have a timeline influence on others, actually. That's one of your soul gifts, is that your energy, if people spend time around you, their timelines will start changing. It's almost like timelines will melt. I'm seeing timelines breaking and like integrating and fusing and shifting. And someone's energy around, like, this is the influence that you have. This is another reason people might get quite triggered by you, because you have a very powerful influence. And like I said, people get very moved by you, but I feel like it's polarizing, positive or negative. They enjoy it or they do not enjoy it. You kind of like rub people the wrong way sometimes. It's quite interesting, but it's because you help people come more into alignment. You might also be something of a mirror, or you might be something of an exposing sort of force, I feel like, as well, which might be why people get triggered. Is like almost like the light of truth shines around you. There is no way of being deceived. Yeah, now I'm seeing all the eyes here in the peacock, in the peacock's feathers. It's like there's no way of getting around you. You can see everything. You can see it all. There's something quite piercing about your vision, about your third eye vision, your spiritual psychic vision. You see. Okay, so that's one of your deepest gifts as well, is that you see through illusion, and that is what you're here to do. You're here to see through illusion and break those sort of illusions down within yourself, within the way that you see the world. And you're meant to also help others to have liberating awareness of truth, to have a liberating awareness of truth. Wow. Yeah, that's like your purpose. And I feel that you are very good at seeing through corruption, lies, schemes, things like this. And that's something that would be very important to you, is like understanding something about corruption in particular. I feel like you might have a past life connection to corruption in some way, like not so much you yourself doing the corruption, but I more meant like you were exposed to it in a way that you may have felt betrayed. Like, Yeah, something like this. And it's something about this where it's like, you know that not everything is what it seems, especially on earth and duality. It's like, not everything is what it seems. You can't take anything at face value. I feel like you have a very original mind. That's your gift. You have an original mind. You can think for yourself, which is like, wow, what a radical gift. Yeah, you have a radical honesty. You have a radical authenticity. Your throat chakra, your voice is your gift, okay? I feel like that in particular. You're a channeler, you're a speaker, you're a musician for some of you. Like there's something here where you're a gifted creative and you're a gifted speaker as well. You're a gifted weaver, storyteller. But there is something here about reclaiming your voice. You may be on a journey of reclaiming gifts in this lifetime, is what I feel like. Coming back into wholeness, coming back into your power, reclaiming your voice. If you aren't already working with my Activate Your Voice light language healing for the throat chakra, I would really recommend working with that one. Just in general, I feel like it would really serve you for your soul purpose. There is something here around activating your voice, coming back home to your voice, okay, in this lifetime. And voice can be, creatively interpret this, okay? Sometimes they talk about voice as in your writing voice or voice as in how does your art speak to the world? But there's something here about you're meant to like influence the subconscious minds of people through your art or through your creations or through your channelings or through your writing. You get the picture through something that you are creating and you are bringing through from the divine, like you're grounding very high frequency energies. Yeah, because the peacock is a grounded bird, okay? It's a grounded bird, but the bird energy is still very like high frequency, but then it's grounded. Okay, that's what you're doing. You're grounding very, very high frequency into form. And that is your gift, okay? You're a definite channeler. A lot of you would have very strong clairvoyance. You may love this one the most, although with clair, you could have clairaudience as well with that throat chakra connection. That's psychic hearing. Okay, you could have all of the clairs, psychic taste, psychic touch, just an inner knowing, an intuition that guides you, all of these things. But there is something quite visual about you in some way. I just can't help it with all the eyes, on this card. And just how beautiful and visually vibrant it is. There's something here about clairvoyance in particular. Maybe spirit saying to know that you have strong clairvoyance. Yeah, I'm just noticing for the first time actually that this peacock has a crown. Okay, this peacock is wearing a crown, and the crown is the crown chakra around independence, freedom. That is definitely the energy I'm picking up from you at a soul level. You are very independent, you are very free, and you're really here to live your own path. I'm also getting that you're here to do a lot of action. You're here to take a lot of action. You're here to do a lot of creating and action taking. Like I feel like your life purpose would be something maybe that's quite career driven or that's quite ambitious, or like I said, a creative art form of some kind, like music, a musician, or you're here to really, do things on a really large scale or have a really big following, reach a lot of people's energy. I feel like you're not meant to be tucked away like a hermit or something. You're meant to be out there in the world, like influencing and having an impact on people, just who you are, like influencing the subconscious minds of those around you. I feel like there's something here about, again, you break energy up and you also shift timelines. That's one of your gifts, is that you do break energy up, but you also shift. Okay, so you interrupt patterns and you break them. That's something that's very helpful for people in your life, but I'm also getting that you are someone who rapidly ascends, and you may find that you have had to let go of a lot of relationships and sort of like go in your own direction sometimes, because you might outgrow people, places, things, situations, workplaces, careers. You're someone that's like highly intelligent as well. I'm getting you're highly intelligent, and you need a lot of fulfillment from a situation, a relationship, or whatever to be happy. Like you have like very high needs, like to be able to be fulfilled in a way in certain things. Like you need it to be good quality, and spirit saying that's who you are and that's what it's meant to be like. Like you're meant to be like this. You're not meant to be like, oh, I'm too picky, or I'm too, I don't know, whatever it might be, too much in some way. Spirit saying, no, it's just enough. You're just right. And it's sort of like you're choosy for a reason, because you're meant to be in sort of a narrow pathway in this lifetime. That's something spirit wants you to know about your soul path and your mission, is that it's narrow. Not just anything will be okay. Like you have specific soul contracts with specific souls that you're here to fulfill. You have specific roles that you're here to do. Like Spirit saying you are very talented. So the thing is that you could do a lot of things. Like, you are extremely talented. You could do so many different things with your life and you would be great at it. You would be so successful at it. But the thing is that there's a narrow pathway of what you are actually here to do at a soul level, where you are like contracted here. And the thing is with soul contracts is that they always will fulfill us at the deepest level. Like, it's not a bad thing to have a contractually kind of thing that you're here to do. It's a beautiful thing. It's an offering. And the soul contracts that we have relationally, in my experience, have been, the most beautiful things. I have a soul contract with my cat Nina, for example, and it's just such a beautiful relationship. So yeah, there's certain things, like, you have kind of a specific timeline, and it's almost like people, when they spend time around you, one of your gifts is that you kind of vibrate. It's almost like you vibrate at such a high frequency that people can't help but get sucked up into your energy. Yeah, that's what I'm getting about the leadership energy, is like people get sucked up into your energy versus you getting sucked up into other people's energy, right? That's something that's really special about you, and that's actually a gift, is that you maintain your frequency and your energy, and then other people get swept up into your influence. Wow, that's really powerful, because that takes a very powerful soul. And that's what I'm saying about you. You've ground very high frequency and you do it effortlessly. You do it like it's nothing. And this makes you very magnetic, very pulling. You pull on energy very easily. Yeah, I can see why people might find it quite hard to be around you, because it's almost like you overpower energetically. Okay, you're not trying to do this, but look at this peacock spirit. It cannot help but shine, okay? There's something about you, and it's like you're not meant to try to dim your light. And I can see why some people might find this is so much, but it's like you're meant to find the right environments, the perfect place, the perfect narrow pathway for you, where you are allowed to shine as brightly as you are and that you do, and that is not too much for others, okay? So you're meant to find a very specific timeline in this life, a very specific form of alignment. But the thing is that you have this powerful energy, and it does overpower people. It does surprise people sometimes that they cannot kind of influence you. You are more of a powerful influence energetically, okay? It's really, really interesting. So let's get you a couple of cards, group 3. Okay, we have time to heal. Yeah, you definitely are a healer, but in a very empowering way, I would say. Yeah, look at that. Claim your independence. We have cat spirit with claim your independence. We have snake spirit with time to heal. Why don't we just get 2 more? Okay, let's see. We have spider spirit. We have spider spirit, make your dreams real. I just have to say, spider spirit and snake spirit, those are 2 of the classic animals that are scary to others. You know what I mean? Like, the classic animal spirits is like kind of a scary one, a snake and a spider. It's like, ah. So I feel like there is something about you that's like kind of scary. It's kind of like meant to shock, or it's meant to surprise, or it's meant to disrupt. Okay, it's meant to disrupt people's status quo. It's meant to disrupt people's limiting beliefs. It's meant to disrupt people's idea of what is normal. It's meant to disrupt mind control. Okay, that's the energy I'm getting. It's like you're here to disrupt mind control and to shift energy. Okay, you're meant to be very independent. Spirit wants you to really claim your independence in this life. Spirit saying you're amazing. Like, you deserve to be adored. You're like precious. You're cherished. And you may have found yourself in environments where you weren't. It's almost like, look at this beautiful peacock. It's like you could just see how people would be so jealous of how beautiful this peacock is. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like you've found yourself in situations throughout your lifetime where people wanted to dim your light, and they were like, hey, back away, dim your light. We don't want you around here. And it might have created some sense of like, oh, relationships are not comfortable or something like this. But Spirit's saying, like, you are actually meant to heal from this in your lifetime. And yes, maintain your independence. It's not that you're never going to, stop being independent and free and doing your own thing. But I do see something about relationship healing in this lifetime as being part of your soul contract. Some of you may think like, oh, I'm okay with kind of, there's something about like maybe you hate the world a little bit. For some of you, it's about hating the world a little bit, or it's about, being really disappointed in humanity, or really, like I said, there's something like about betrayal in your heart. Like, you got betrayed in a past life where you saw the dark side of humanity, you saw corruption or evil in some way, and it's kind of stayed with you in this life, and you're meant to heal from that in this life in some way. You're meant to come back to this like more of this like healed energy in your heart space. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as part of your mission. And look at that back of the deck energy here. We have cow spirit. The miracles are endless. You will have the experience of many miracles in your life, I feel like you might be someone who experiences things in extremes. You might go from, maybe not having very much money to really having extreme abundance or something like this. I feel like you might, yeah, or you might have a lot of loneliness and spend a lot of time independent and then go into, suddenly having a really beautiful, nourishing community or family or something like this. You might have quite different experiences throughout your life, and you're sort of meant to experience quite a wide range of things, or you're talented in a wide range of ways, but it's still culminating in a narrow pathway. There's something about the miracles where, yeah, you are guaranteed that something is going to heal. Oh my gosh. You guys, my throat chakra, there's something here. I was just saying you are guaranteed to heal something in this lifetime. And then the throat chakra, there's something that's going to be released here. I felt this in the throat, something about you reclaiming your voice, and especially maybe in relationship. The throat chakra actually traditionally, classically, is actually associated with jealousy and comparison and competitiveness. And I'm just seeing that you have attracted a large amount of that in your lifetime, way more than average, way more than just the average human experience. It's about your energy signature with the peacock spirit, okay? It's about the light that you shine. You're just so bright. You have a diamond light, you shine really bright. But yeah, diamonds are created under pressure. I feel like you've been through a lot, and you're healing from being able to see through illusion and kind of having to heal heartbreak around the the world or people or evil, things like this. The world not being what you thought it was, someone not being who you thought they were, something about betrayal in this or another lifetime. But yeah, there's something about relationship healing in this life. As you reclaim your voice, you're reclaiming your power. All right, group three, that is the end of your reading. I do hope that you enjoyed it. If you would like to connect more with my work, I would really recommend my Activate Your Voice Throat Chakra Light Language Healing. It's great for, like I said, reclaiming your voice, anything to do with throat chakra and releasing any heavy burdens that might just be there, like subconsciously. It's really interesting how often it comes up in tarot readings, how often the throat chakra can get obstructed because it is sort of a psychic message around energy that is needing to be released, okay? So yeah, I'll link it down below. You can read more about it. And thanks so much for supporting my work. I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care.